Believers, have you ever had this aha moment? That's the moment you finally get something you were pondering about for a long time, something that just didn't add up, something that didn't sync well, but you couldn't put your finger on what was wrong or what was going on. And suddenly, one day, on an unexpected moment, it clicks and you realize, aha, that's it. Those aha moments are very important because it's when you experience those aha moments that you finally see what was going on. I can't say this enough. Believers need to learn to see through stuff. For example, if you have people who suddenly stop talking to you out of the blue without you doing anything wrong to them, they even pretend as if you never existed, that is because there is something going on that they don't want you to know. And that thing that's going on, they have an investment in it. And when their investment comes out, now they're exposed. They have something to explain that they can't explain. So that's why they avoid you, so that you will think that there's something wrong with you. They're doing this to distract you. This gaslighting of theirs is to put you in a negative daylight so that you can't see what they are involved in. But how often does it happen that when people suddenly turn on you, that believers tend to think, what did I do wrong? They only look at the fact that happened. They don't look beyond the fact to see the context in which the facts took place. Once you learn to see and to examine and to reflect on the context in which the facts took place, you will have aha moments all the time. I want you believers to have aha moments. I really do. The same it is with human history. Maybe there was a civil war in your country. I'm not talking about those blood rituals that they call military wars. I'm talking about a real civil war that people went off at each other. And your parents were traumatized by it, and it still affects your relatives because it was a civil war. And you try to figure out, why did this civil war happen? Because the more facts you gather from the archives or from newspaper articles, the weirder the story sounds. Because you see that just a few days before the Civil War, people were happy. People were at ease with one another. And suddenly, a few days later, they were butchering one another. But then, one day, it clicks. You have this aha moment and you realize, now I see what's going on. The people here were avoiding negative tensions. Or better said, they were avoiding dealing with negative tensions. They did not look for solutions. They just ignored stuff, just wanted to be left alone. So they were at ease with one another, and they had a short-lived happiness as a group, but eventually the conflicts resurfaced and escalated. So now it clicks with you. I want things to click with you. Don't just look at the facts. Facts mean what people do, how people treated you, what people didn't do, or some situation that occurs. Look at the context in which the facts happen. Things don't just happen in a vacuum. Things happen in a context. A political context, a social context, an economic context, a religious context. Everything happens within a context. Learn to reflect on the context, and once you're able to do this, you'll see through any garbage the world throws at you. And not only that, you will also see clearly when it's God Himself working on your behalf. Again, God will tolerate a lot of stuff to happen that shouldn't happen. I'm talking about bad stuff. But God will work through all the bad stuff that happens. Not that God agrees with nor supports the bad stuff, but He will tolerate them to happen to work out His purpose. So when you learn to see true stuff, when you learn to reflect on the context, you'll also see God's hand in your life. So it's not only about recognizing the enemy, it's about recognizing God's hand also. I'll say it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.